Welcome to our channel Core Biology. Today in this video we are looking all about the eye, the human eye, its mechanism, its anatomy, its structure, everything. So first of all, there are three layers in your eye, that is sclera, choroid and retina. So first we are talking about here is sclera, the outermost layer. You can see it in your eye, the white layer of it. It is sclera. So sclera is a dense fibroelastic connective tissue with collagen fiber. So many of you thinking what is collagen? Collagen क्या होता है? Collagen fibers actually. Collagen fibers gives a strength to any structure where they present. They are basically in white color fibers, which gives to the strength to muscles. There in eye where sclera is present, they give here the strength to this eye to remain tight and also provide attachments for other muscles. Okay, that is basically function of fibroelastic connective tissue. And the anterior thick transparent or invisible part of sclera is called cornea. As you can see here, this is cornea. You can feel it in your eye. You know that the eye is not a completely as open. We feel something of protection, the invisible protection there. That is basically a cornea, by which the sclera, lens and other part of eye is covered. This cornea is basically covered with a transparent membrane covering called conjunctiva. Its function is it provide protection and lubrication to cornea. Okay, basically it provide protection to cornea. The second layer, which is inner to sclera, is choroid, and we are going to study about it. The choroid is basically divided into three parts, that is choroid proper, ciliary body and iris. So choroid proper is nothing but this chloride which is present between retina and this sclera layer. It has some blood vessels which provide nutrition and oxygen to retina. It also prevents the internal reflection of light which goes inside our eye. I will show you other image where you can see these layers. So here we can see this is a chloride, this is retina and this is sclera. These three layers are here. And next part of chloride is, first we are seeing chloride proper, next is ciliary body. Here you can see it is basically a thick muscular and ring like structure at a junction of iris and this chloride layer. Here, that is, you can see at a junction of chloride layer where this iris begin. And to this ciliary body the suspensory ligament is attached which hold the lens. This lens here you can see it is held by this suspensory ligament, and this it is attached to the ciliary body. Okay, and the third part of the ciliary body is this iris. It is present between this sclera layer and this cornea. As you can see in this our old image, this is iris. With this layer basically gives or decide the color of your eye. As you can see, the lens is deep inside this, and the iris is this layer which is anterior to this lens. So basically we have seen this ciliary body, which is you can see here. It helps in adjusting the size of the lens according to vision or the light which is entering. So when you are seeing an image which is very long to your eye, the size of it changes, and when that image is very close to your eye, the size of lens again changes. So this changes in size of lens, it's controlled by the ciliary body muscle. So the function of iris is that it, like ciliary body, it regulates the size of this pupil, which is the black spot in your eye. You can see it regulates the size of this pupil depending on the intensity of light entering in your eye or eyeball. The pigment of this iris determines the color of the eye. So in a quick, I will give the function of all this part we are discussing. The light passing through the front of eye, that is cornea, cornea to the lens. ठीक है, cornea से लेकर लेंस तक लाइट पास होती है. The cornea and lens help to focus the light rays into the back of the eye, that is the retina. We are going to discuss it now. So this cornea and the lens focus the light at the retina of the eye. The cell in the retina absorb and convert the light to electrochemical impulse which are transferred along the optic nerve and then to the brain. The optic nerve we are going to discuss after some time. So this is kind of, you say, a short quick mechanism of eye. So here you can see there is a small chamber anterior to the lens filled with a clear water fluid called aqueous humor. Here you can see This is aqueous humor. And this is a small chamber where it is filled, and here you can clearly see it is a iris. It is a pupil where light enters, and it is a lens here. So do not confuse this anterior small chamber like part in front of the lens to iris. Iris is this part, okay? It is a small part attached to, I can say, suspensory ligaments. And we can also see in your eye that around the pupil, this is pupil, there is a color like part or a colored part which we called iris. Okay, so in front of this iris there is a small chamber which is filled with aqueous humor. Okay, and the posterior part of this lens, we are talking about the part here, this large chamber here, this chamber is called vitreous chamber, which is filled with a jelly like vitreous humor. Okay, this is vitreous chamber or vitreous body filled with vitreous humor, as we can see here. Its function is that it maintains the shape of eyeball and also maintain the pressure for keeping the lens in position. Okay, so it maintain pressure here so that the lens here it is fixed, it will be fixed in this position. And then the last but not the least and the innermost layer is retina. It is delicate non-vascular light sensitive layer. It have photo receptor cells like rod cell, cone cell, the photopigment. So about this rod shape and cone shape cell we will talk about later in the mechanism of vision of eye. Okay, and this is the optic nerve which we talk about in a quick of mechanism of vision of eye. In the part you can see here this lateral rectus muscle. So what about this rectus muscle? So this is the rectus muscle. There are four: superior rectus muscle, the medial rectus muscle, the lateral rectus muscle that we have seen in that image, and the inferior rectus muscle. So all these rectus muscle help the eyeball movement of this eyeball while we are moving our eye left, right, up and down. Okay, so this is all about the anatomy of eye.